What actually surprised me about Korea was they have a lot of mountains. Because most countries would completely destroy their nature. It was unbelievable. That is so amazing. 안녕하세요, 조용해서 님이라고 합니다. So the reason I actually wanted to come to Korea was because I wanted to move to China. Before people get angry, I thought to myself, I better go to another country to just experience it before I actually move to China. But then I came to Korea, I actually like this place a bit too much and I can't move to China. And so I told my father on a phone call, I am so sorry, I'm gonna stay in Korea. And that's what happened. Yeah, the things that I'm used to, like, you know, I'm walking to the subway, everything looks like, 그냥 한국이다. 근데 다른 거 해야 되면, if I have to print something, for example, or I have to go to the bank, then you're like, oh no, I don't know how to do this. Or even like I had to change my phone number, oh my god. So I'm gonna talk about the things that actually surprised me when I first came to Korea. One of the things that actually surprised me about Korea was they have a lot of mountains. There's like streams in the middle of the mountains and there's apparently tigers. Are there tigers in those mountains? I've heard that there are tigers. Oh, there are no tigers? What happened? 왜 없다? 다 죽었어요? No, in London. No, the thing is, England, you call it the plains. We don't have anything that really goes up or down. So the thing is, it's like actually Seoul is one of the naturalist, prettiest cities I've seen. All of them are surrounded by mountains. So it's a city surrounded by mountains. And when I came to Korea, one thing actually it reminded me of was cities like Cape Town and actually Rio, because I was just like, it's a city and it's completely surrounded by mountains. But the thing is, it's just like the mountains are really old in Korea, right? They're all surrounded by green. Instead of it being like in Europe or like Switzerland, which is like really pikes, it's like all of them are really round and really green. When you go in, it's like quite dark forest, but the forest looks different from the forest we have in the UK. So even the forest, like the leaves look different. So you're just like looking at the trees being like everything kind of, it's a forest, but it looks different. I have friends who try dragging me out to see the nature because I have a friend who's a photographer and he wakes up at like 3 a.m. to go up the mountain to see the sunrise and take pictures. Nope. I'm not that kind of person. I go to a park and I'm like, this is enough nature for me. My friend is like super fit, has like a six-pack and is like, I like going up mountains. I'm not that kind of person. But Korea has such a beautiful view from the mountains. So if you actually go up a really, really beautiful mountain, you can see the whole of Seoul, you can take beautiful pictures. Also, there's like seem to be always like a fog on top of the mountain, so it looks really like there's about to come a tiger. It just looks really mystical. Also, and it's really good for you. It's like free exercise, it's a beautiful view. You can do it with friends. You go to the top and eat ramyeon. So it's like, they pretty much thought it to be kind of like Japan and Tokyo kind of looking. So when my parents came, they're like, there's more nature than they thought there would be. Because if you compare it to European countries, Korea actually has a lot of more nature because Korea is so like in tight little pockets. Like Seoul is this big and everybody's living together. And another city, everybody's living together. So there's actually quite a lot of nature, which it doesn't really exist in the UK. If you're traveling in the UK, there's always like buildings in the random places. So we don't have like forests. Especially when he went to like the castle and he was sitting in the castle and you could see up and behind him was this huge ass mountain. It just looked like a different world and I remember thinking that too. And when you turn around, there's like all those buildings behind you. It's something really pretty and I'm really happy that Korea has kept that. Oh my god, that's so pretty. So it's the top 4 in the OECD. So 60%, like Korea doesn't have a lot of flat land, but then you see everything being built up. Isn't it cool how Korea actually, even though it doesn't have a lot of the conditions to make it grow big, they just make it? Like other countries would be like, we give up, but Korea's like, nah, we're gonna put everything like here. It shouldn't be here, but we're gonna make it. Which is really interesting because Koreans, they sacrifice so much for economic development. And I find it really interesting that they didn't sacrifice their nature. Because most countries would completely destroy their nature to be able to see economic prosperity. But Korea was just like, we sacrifice ourselves, but we keep the nature, which I find very interesting. Because if Korea really wanted to, they could clear out a lot of space for destroying the mountains, for destroying the nature. But they haven't. They've preferred to build up or make everybody live closer together. Wow. So I'm really, really impressed. They really always think about the middle. They're really thinking, that is so amazing. Thing is, transportation between cities, it's like Koreans have really invested in making things convenient and working. Thinking, oh, we're doing this now, but what about the future? Which is something most developing countries don't do. So I'm really, really impressed that Koreans thought so much about the future and about who's coming after them, and not just about what can we gain as a current generation, which I think is really great. So both the UK and Korea have a lot of trees. England has 0 mountains. We have 0 snow. Because I don't think a lot of foreigners know that you can actually ski in Korea. You could ski in Korea. I was like, yeah, the Winter Olympics. They're like, true. But how? In the UK, the weather is very plain. We don't have as strong change of seasons as Korea does. So in Korea, you know, during autumn, all the mountains turn brown. And then during spring, it's like there's a lot of flowers everywhere. And the UK, we really don't have that. It's like either green or dead. I was just looking at the beautiful mountains of Korea that can be seen everywhere. But when I think about it, I can't believe that I was able to make as much progress as I am now. So I guess that when they look at these mountains and it looks so glorious, it reminds you, like, the thing is, looking at nature reminds you of everything, right? Especially if the person's conscious that Korea was a completely war-struck country, an ex-Japanese colony about 60 years ago. Now state is like unbelievable. You know, the power of nature kind of reminds you of the power of a country. So when you look at the power of nature, it looks like, wow. You kind of think, wow, this country is also really powerful. It's not that Koreans and not Korea and Koreans that were not able to develop more slowly than European countries. Yeah, no, that's the thing. North Korea has a lot of natural resources, right? But South Korea does not. And the only natural resource Korea had was the people. European countries didn't have it either, but the difference is they stole from other countries their natural resources and took these natural resources and made the economy they have now. But Korea really relied on itself. Korea was like, we have our people and this is what we've got. You know, this is one of the reasons I actually moved here, was because I was fascinated about that. Because I was just like, what kind of culture makes people work so hard for the greater good of the whole community? I knew that there were many mountains in Korea, but I didn't know there was over 70%. The remaining 30% of the land available would be the only 20%. But what if it was a miracle of Samsung semiconductors smartphone we all made? But this is kind of like, you know, Korea was a country of the screens and the semiconductors and the chaebols, you know, exporting these kind of products. It's like, you guys don't need land, you just need people, and literally you guys can literally build up, just like build 100 Lotte towers and all live under it, and you still would be like a successful country, like somehow. Even the food, it's just so interesting that it's like no shortage of food. Like when coronavirus happened, everybody was chill. The Western countries were panicked. Everybody was like, we're not gonna have food, we're all gonna die. And Korea was like, you know, you went to the shopping mall, there was like still toilet paper everywhere. Everybody's like, yeah, we're good. It was like, it was unbelievable for foreigners, like that Korea was so chill. So today I actually talked about how beautiful Koreans' mountains are and how impressive Korea's economic growth is, considering how many mountains they have. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, write in the comments, and see you next time. Bye!